counties, underscoring an urgent need for cooperation in strengthening health measures to curb the spread of the disease. The minister revealed this to the Vice President for Service Cluster, Dr. Josephine Lagu, who received a briefing from her regarding preparations for the upcoming 10th East Africa Health Scientific Conference in Juba, slated for June 25th to 27th, 2025. Separately, Vice President Josephine Lagu convened with Governor of Warrap State, Ambassador Bolwega Agoth, to discuss a number of issues as he prepares to travel to the state. SSBC's Ayul Ringarop reports.
As the country grapples with the health challenges, the Minister of Health, Sarah Kletorial, in a meeting with the Vice President for Service Cluster, Josephine Lagu, has emphasized the urgent need for the regional cooperation in strengthening health measures to curb the spread of cholera epidemic. Ministerial, who began her role last week, confirmed that the new cholera cases reported in 23 counties have surpassed 800. The minister updated Vice President Josephine Lagu regarding ongoing preparation for the upcoming 10th East African Health Scientific Conference scheduled for June 25 to 27, 2025 in capital Juba.
And I look forward to very important work ahead of us, and we'll be focusing really on medical outbreaks. At this time we are met with cholera, so we have put a lot of work in terms of addressing the cholera, and we can report that
outline challenges facing us, which includes funding for key activities like information, publicity.
The Vice President is Press Secretary Nazaru Machelo said Vice President urged Health Minister to deepen collaboration with the ministry staff and technical experts to effectively address multiple challenges the institution is confronting.
Her Excellency Vice President also received update from the Ministry of Health on the status of cholera outbreak across the country. The Vice President assured the new Minister of Health of her cluster full support to the Ministry of Health in carrying out their duties.
In separate development, Vice President Josephine Lagu also convened with the newly appointed Governor of Warrap State, Ambassador Bolwega Agoth, to discuss the challenges facing the health and education sector in the state. In a media briefing, Governor Agoth expressed his support for the state of emergency declared by the President Salva Kiir Mayardit to restore law and orders in Warrap State, pledging full commitment to its implementation as the military begin disarmament exercise.
I had a fruitful meeting with Vice President Josephine Lagu, a very practical meeting where I have confirmed Vice President's support to my assignment. I'm lucky that she was already scheduled to visit Warrap with the grassroots project in Mariallo Institute. That is the ticket that I can tell people of Warrap that I'm coming for development. What I will be doing in Warrap, my mission is to implement the state of emergency. Anyone who will be listening, like issue of disarmament, peacefully, will enjoy the peace and stability. He will enjoy the status of law-abiding citizen. Anyone who will resist will get a full-blown force of
As he prepares to travel to Warrap State, Governor Ambassador Bolwega Agoth has paid a courtesy call on the Vice President in charge of Gender, Youth and Humanitarian Cluster, Rebecca Nyandeng, Demaburu, to discuss relief crisis in the state and how young people, including women, could be empowered by the government through capacity building and entrepreneurial programs as the country struggles with shocks such as climate change and severe inflation. As Paul Bith reports, Nyandeng engages in discussion with Chief Executive Officer and the founder of the Birth of the Spirits Ministries International on vital matters concerning the country's religious affairs.
The newly appointed Governor of Warrap State, Bolwega Agoth, briefed Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng on matters related to security and humanitarian affairs under his new leadership in the states. The two leaders stressed strategies and mechanisms of addressing crises affecting the communities in Warrap State. Speaking to the media after the meeting in Juba on Tuesday, Governor Weka Goth persuaded the community of Warab State to abide by the rules of law and to coexist peacefully. He says without peace, there can be no development in the regions.
There are good examples that I can borrow. Will is the most stable state, socially cohesive. The reasons are there. We can learn from them. Lake State under General Rintwing was one of the troubled states earlier, but now it's peaceful. What did you do? That's an experience we need to borrow. We don't need to borrow from Europe or America. We have a relevant experience. Lastly, Warab State, where we have Tony, where a troubled spot is, Ganunwana Lel, is one of the traditional laws that has been enacted by traditional leadership. That is the home of Deng Nial, and that is the home of our president, Warab State. We should give them respect. We should benefit from their name and their expertise. And these are some of the messages that I will be doing the talking to remind people. Those who will listen, I'll work with them. Those who will not listen, the supremacy of the government will be applicable. Like what happened to Nasser. In Nasser, when White Army overran Nasser, Nasser now has been taken by the government. So I'm going to represent the government, and I will use the government machinery to make people listen if they are not listening.
In a separate meeting, Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng and the Chief Executive Officer and the founder of the Breeze of the Spirit Ministries International discussed matters pertaining to religious affairs. In a statement to SSBC, the Chief Executive Officer of the Faith Ministries, Michelle Corol, says the discussion revolved on religious activities for promoting peaceful coexistence among the communities in the country.
And I am so honored to have met this woman of God. I am so impressed, first of all, with her humility, with her elegance, and with her focus for this nation, and for her prayers, and her very deliberate life of complete and absolute dedication to the Lord and to his people.
A member in the Shai calls upon South Sudanese to renounce tribalism, but to accept and practice peace and unity.
Here, I was coming with a woman of God. We need God to do this thing, so break out this tribalism in our country, South Sudan. We want South Sudan to become a one country, South Sudan, no tribalism.
The two meetings on Tuesday are focused on applying religious practices and norms in promoting peace, tolerance, and unity in the country. Reporting for SSBC, I am Paul.
The Speaker of Parliament, Gemma Nunu Kumba, has assured the August House's unwavering dedication to supporting Warab State in various parliamentary-related programs. Speaker Nunu made the assurance during a meeting with Governor Bolwega Goth, whom she congratulated on his appointment for winning the trust of President Salva Kiir to address prevailing challenges affecting Warab State. The meeting focuses on restoring law and order following President's decision to declare a state of emergency in the state, a move many say would prevent further confrontation among the lawless armed youth in the region.
I came here as a new governor of Warab State to seek support and prayers in my new assignment, because Warab State, as you all know, has been a difficult state to govern. So I feel that any society is run by three social groups, very distinct social groups. The leaders, who are considered to be elders, whether they are young or old, they have the wisdom because they have the experience and expertise. And God is nearer to them always because they manage the society, they manage human affairs. And she's in that category. Because she has been a former SG and she has different portfolio in the government. The middle-age group who have the expertise and experience offer an experience in an assignment. And people like me who are middle-aged and young, especially in this assignment, if we join hands together, we can succeed because it's not complicated. Human affairs are accessible, they can be expressed in any form. And in this case, what people of Warab need is security, peace, and development. I want to say that communication is the key, is the key. Communication, I would want my word to be taken within the context, because I have an interest to serve my people so that we come out from where we are.
Right Honourable Speaker of the TNLA, Dr. Jemanu Nukumba, had a courtesy visit today from the newly appointed Governor of Warrap State, His Excellency Bolwek Agoth. She congratulated him on his new appointment and for gaining the trust of the President to provide services in and manage the challenges within Warrap State. The meeting comes as part of a series of meetings the Governor is holding with relevant institutions to streamline ways of working through His Excellency the President's declaration of a state of emergency within Warrap State, in an effort to restore law and order. The Right Honourable Speaker ensured that the TNLA will work within its capacity to support the Governor's work within Warrap. She wished him the best of luck in his assignment.
Northern Bar Kazal Governor Simon Ubermaut says the general security and political situation is stable as citizens go about their daily economic activities. Mawood stated this following his meeting with the Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, Madut Dutial, on Monday, where he pledged to work closely with the state authorities for the benefit of the people of Awil. The meeting underscored the significance of promoting peace in the state and its neighbors to ensure sustainable development.
We have just concluded a very fruitful meeting with Honorable General Madut, the new National Security Advisor. I've come to personally congratulate him on his new assignment as Advisor on National Security. We have also touched base on a number of issues of security concern, where we identified areas of cooperation, and Honorable Advisor has assured me of his full support and that of the Directors General of
Partners have convened to discuss the country's humanitarian plans following global aid cuts. A two-day retreat attended by the Ministers of Finance and Planning, Dr. Marial Dongrenater, and of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akwalatak, brought together humanitarian stakeholders to evaluate the success and challenges in the future disasters in the country. SSBC's Edward Stephen reports.
In his unambiguous address to the United Nations humanitarian actors, the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Marial Dongrenater, lauds humanitarian agencies for the good work they are doing in the country. He says the government has allocated a portion of the budget for fiscal year to supplement efforts of humanitarian actors for partially compensating cuts in humanitarian funding from donors.
The government of the Republic of South Sudan deeply values the unwavering partnership and the technical expertise provided by the United Nations. We are prioritizing institutional reforms to enhance the government's ability to plan, budget, and deliver essential social services effectively and accountably. Recognizing the persistent humanitarian needs, the government is committed to shouldering greater responsibility. The current budget 2024-2025 allocated significant domestic resources to complement donor-funded efforts, reflecting our resolve to avail national resources to address crisis.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akwalatak, calls upon the humanitarian actors to align their priorities with the government's development agenda of sustainability and self-reliance.
This retreat is to evaluate the progress. While doing so, I want you to consider the following priorities of the government. One is strengthening the resilient and institutional capacity so that communities in South Sudan can transit from dependency to self-reliance. Number two, early warning system
and mitigation. Of course, when we have some issues like floods, the best thing we reduce the impact of this emergence on people of South Sudan. 3, monitoring and evaluation. This is to ensure programs remain responsive and impactful. And number 4, coordination. So we must work more efficiently to avoid this coordination is to have effectiveness, efficiency, and also to avoid duplication.
The resident United Nations humanitarian coordinator, Anita Kiki, is optimistic about the retreat, enabling partners to come up with a number of outcomes and actions to confront new challenges and make a better life for the people of South Sudan.
We hope to come out of the retreat with agreement on 2, perhaps 3, or even 4 outcomes and actions that can guide our collective work in the coming year. This retreat is an opportunity to build on that foundation, to listen with open minds, to ask the tough questions, to learn from each other.
The United Nations and humanitarian partners are holding the retreat in part to evaluate the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in a bid to spearhead the role of humanitarian agencies in confronting disasters and restoring hope for the affected population. Edri Stephen, SS.
The National Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Hussein Abdelbagi Akol, met with Jonglei State Governor Dr. Riegai Kok in his office on Tuesday. In a statement to the media shortly after the meeting, the Ministry's Undersecretary Professor Matthew Gordon Udo said the discussion centered on availing land to the ministry as part of government efforts to boost mechanized farming. Governor Dr. Riegai Kok appealed to the people of the state to focus on agriculture to ensure food security.
As you may all recall, that Honorable Minister for Agriculture paid a visit last month to Jonglei State, where he was received by the government and the people of Jonglei, and he toured some payams in Bor County, whereby he saw for himself the huge agricultural potentials that are. So today I've conveyed to him that all the counties have already fulfilled their promise to offer 250,000 fadans for each 9 counties of Jonglei State. So those 250 times 9 counties will be available next year, and during this rainy season, technical people will be working to demarcate and to be gazetted so that they are available for investors, whether locally or foreign investors.
While I'm in Juba, the state will be receiving the first donation of tractors that have been donated by His Excellency the President to the states. And then they will, of course, embark in assisting the farmers during this agricultural season.
We touched the area which the ministry had already launched, and they talked to different governors of different states to avail land for agriculture program in their respective state. The governor said that they are following that one seriously, and the land is going to be ready. And also they touch on issue on how to engage the people to participate in the agriculture program in the state. The governor also said that this program, they are supporting it seriously, and that it is going to take place as it is. And then the governor also informed us that they are planning to organize a conference, a peace conference in Aurora County, where at least people could sit down and then discuss what are the problems facing them in the state, and they may invite the minister to come and attend it, because by doing that.
Ugandan Minister of ICT and National Guidance Chris Baryomunsi has landed Juba International Airport ahead of the official launching of East African Communication Organization's first advisory council tomorrow at Radisson Blu. The minister was received by the Deputy Minister of Information David Yawyao and senior government officials from Telecommunications and National Communication Authority. In his remarks after a warm reception by officials from the Ministry of Information, the Ugandan minister said Uganda is ready to share and learn from South Sudan's experience to better improve communication technology in the region. According to National Communication Authority, over 200 tech experts, policymakers, legislators, mobile operators, and members of academia from all over East Africa are already in Juba preparing for the official launch of the ACO's first advisory council, the first of its kind to have happened in the Republic of South Sudan.
Today we are blessed to have Honorable Chris, Minister of Information from Republic of Uganda, came to attend with us as an invited guest representing the Ministry of ICT in Uganda to attend the IACO assembly function that will be started from tomorrow. And we are blessed to have him in our presence. Honorable Chris, you are most welcome to Republic of South Sudan, and may briefly maybe tell the listeners and why are we here and why were we invited. You are most welcome.
We are here for IACO, and as ministers responsible for information and ICT to discuss and see how we can collaborate, how we can work together in the areas of digital transformation. Because today it is technology that is driving the world in terms of socio-economic transformation, and indeed countries in sub-Saharan Africa, countries which are still developing, like Uganda and South Sudan, we share a lot of commonality.
The Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority convened a meeting focusing on the progress made in public procurement system. Speaking during the opening, Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning Beck George Anyak urges accounting officers to follow procurement system to ensure services delivery. The chairperson of the Board of Directors for Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority, Ayi Bol, acknowledges the role played by the World Bank and other development partners in the country. The Executive Director of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority, Denga Kwekak, underlines the role of procurement system and regulations in strengthening the budget processes ahead of the fiscal year.
I encourage the board, the secretariat of the PPDA to establish a robust system of monitoring compliance and evaluating performance across procurement entities. We must identify those who are adhering to the law and those who are not, and act accordingly. Not today, not tomorrow, but now. The success of procurement reform is closely tied to the overall public financial management reform agenda. When procurement is weak, budget credibility suffers. When procurement is opaque, corruption thrives. And that when procurement is transparent, efficient, and rules-based, we can ensure that our national budget delivers real value to our citizens. Today, dear honorable accounting officers, let us recommit ourselves to the principle of good governance, fiscal discipline, and public accountability. Let this working session between the accounting officers and the PPDA not just be another meeting, but the beginning of a renewed focus on procurement integrity.
The purpose, we have three main purposes for this meeting. One is to deliberate with all the accounting officers and on the progress made in setting up South Sudan Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets system. Number two, we intend also to demonstrate to them various tools prepared by PPDA for use by their organizations in carrying out procurement and disposal of assets. Number three, We also would like to hear from various challenges, to hear from them the various challenges that they face.
The authority has been established by the President of the Republic of South Sudan, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, and then after that the board members and the Minister of Finance and Planning and the World Bank, they have been working closely to achieve what we are today. So the establishment of the procurement system is done, everything is in place, the structures have been formed, and all attendant documents are in place.
Let's go for a short break and stay tuned for more stories coming up. Welcome back from that short break. To proceed with our news bulletin, the Azande community organized Thanksgiving event to honor President Kiir for appointing Major General Elia Costa Faustino, the Director General of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passports and Immigration. The function brought together dignitaries from the national and state governments. Dengachol reports.
The Azande community fixed a Thanksgiving service to honor President Salva Kiir Mayardit for appointing Major General Elia Costa Faustino, the Director General of the Directorate of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passport and Immigration in the South Sudan National Police Service. Speaking at the occasion, the Acting Minister of Interior, Mangarbong Alwenge, calls upon the new Director General of the Directorate of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passport and Immigration to apply his long service experience in the police service to reform the Directorate to serve the people of South Sudan.
لازم تركزوا في تعليم ولازم تركزوا في وحدة بتاعكم عشان نشيل جنوب للأمام ببيتكم ربنا كمان عشان إليه يستمر في شغله ويجلس بتوع كويس ويعمل تقدم للشعب بتاع جنوب السودان والسلام عليكم.
The Inspector General of the National Police Service, General Abraham Manuat Peter, says the police service stands by Major General Elia Costa in his service at the Directorate. He encouraged the police to be disciplined in the course of their duties and to abide by the police mandate in upholding the rule of law.
Police is a family. Mafi police, kukula ana min hita filania, wala ana min hita filania. Elia Costa, fi mahalana na nagalu fogu kulu, bimafiu awili, bimafiu jungle. ما في يوم واحد عمل شكوى قال أنا ما هذا أنا ما بمشي أنا بعرف في ناس لما نقولهم بنتيو وبقول أنا ما بكلم بتانوين ليه ما أنت تابع بوليس أنت تمشي محل we are sharpening you Elia Costa we have been sharpening him all these years and we are observing him.
The chairperson of Azande community in Juba, Andrea Minala, compliments the President Kiir Mayardit for the trust bestowed upon Elia Costa, a son of the Azande community. He linkens the appointment to the President's recognition of the Azande community.
The Azande Kingdom is for a peaceful coexistence among all tribes of this country.
Major General Leah Costa promises his community and the entire South Sudanese population he will serve the people loyally without discrimination. He calls upon all members of the Azande community to coexist peacefully among themselves and with the neighboring communities.
بدون تميز أنا ده من قبيلة كده ولا ده من قبيلة كده. بالنهاية جنوب السودان أنا زول جنوبي بالصحيح الوثيقة أو الجنسية أو الجواز الموجود هنا. South Sudan oye! South Sudan oye! Azande community oye!
President Kiir decreed the appointment of Major General Elia Costa Positino to the position on the 20th February 2025, a long-serving police officer from pre-independent South Sudan, succeeding Major General Simon Mujur-Babek. Elia Costa is the 6th Director General of the Directorate of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passport and Immigration. Deng Achol, SSBC News, Juba.
The first Advisory Council and 30th Annual Assembly of the East African Communications Organization continues in Juba, with participants affirming commitment to strengthening and promoting cooperation among the ESC member countries. Abate Simon has a report.
The working groups and committees are continuously searching for and adopting best practices in information, communication technology, infrastructural development, connectivity, sharing, and digital inclusion for East African community communication sector. The chairperson of the Human Resource Committee, Judy Amwire, says the organization is striving to improve human resource management policies, process, and procedures, and recommend further collaborative efforts.
The challenges that we get as an HR committee is more on where we are not getting participation from other NRAs, especially in the HR field, to help us be able to pull resources, to pull brains to help the Secretariat. And also at times, costs become a problem, especially for the Secretariat staff, to also improve or undertake these capacity buildings that would help them just like any other NRAs. And
the representative of the working group for Waste Management and Green ICT, Philip Apeo, confirms the committee has registered significant milestones in strengthening and promoting cooperation among the East African community countries.
The working group will focus on the implementations of regional e-waste management strategy 2027, that countries have different levels of e-waste management. This one is true because we have different levels of e-waste management in each country. Some of the countries do not have rules and regulations, maybe guidelines and policies and all these things. So we have different levels of. So this one is a challenge.
The chairperson of the working group for Information Communication Technology Policy and Regulatory Framework Harmonization, Nirera Juliet, says the team is working to addressing concerns in developing and providing postal, telecommunication, and broadcasting services in East Africa.
The planned activities for financial year 2025-2026 is to update the database with broadcasting and postal indicators, to produce the annual reports for communication sectors, statistics covering the three subsectors of telecommunication, broadcasting, and postal.
The East Africa Communication Organization is currently faced with giant and overwhelming innovative technology evolution, which demands the body to run abreast with new trends in improving and adopting best practices from global ICT stakeholders. Abati Simon Godo, SSBC News.
The Ministry of Peace Building, in partnership with the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO and the UN Peace Building Fund, as well as Hope for Africa South Sudan, discussed Youth Leading Peace Project. The project theme, Capacity Building for Young People, aims at mechanisms for implementation of the youth, peace and security initiatives across the country. Addressing participants, the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Peace Building, Pierre Philippe, urges young people to refrain from hate speech and be ambassadors of peace. Northern Barakazal State Minister of Youth and Sports, Bola Kwar, encourages youth to apply the knowledge gained from the training to foster peace and unity. UNESCO representative Rebecca Charles reiterated the organization's commitment to facilitating youth development activities in the country.
A leader should take their community to the right place. A leader behaves like a hen that protects the chicks from the birds. For you to benefit from this country, one thing, only one thing you need to focus on, and the rest will follow. Peace, building, and social cohesion. You must be the one to build peace. When you build your peace between you and your neighbor, a county, a Boma, a Payam, peace will flourish.
وعشان السلام ده يكون يكون مسؤولية تكون في الشباب في المقام الأول. وتبني تبدي التوعية للناس ما يعمل حاجة الكعب. ودولتنا ده ودولتنا دي محتاجة السلام. أنا كسياسيين بكل أطراف الثلاث في تقريبا 2018 قاعد نأكد قاعد نلتزم كل يوم إنه جنوب ده ما يرجع للحق ثاني مهما كان.
I want to thank the government of South Sudan for its commitment to build a peaceful nation.
Chief Administrator Stefano Uyao Dimalek calls for peaceful coexistence in Ruang Administrative. Chief Administrator Stefano Uyao, who was addressing a public rally in Jau County, emphasizes the importance of harmonious relations between the inhabitants and foreign nationals to facilitate the delivery of essential services and promote stability. Additionally, the State Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement Agency, Gabriel Worjuach, stresses government efforts towards peace and unity. The Commissioner of Jau County, James Mading Dao, explained some of the challenges facing the area residents.
الهدف بتاع الزيارة ده هدف واحد عشان نجي نتكلم معكم وضع العامة في دولة ولا سو في عالم وتجهيزات بتاعنا كشعب بتاع روين. الهدف نمرة 2 طبعا بالنسبة لي دائما قاعد يكون فرصة عشان برضو نعمل توعية ونتكلم مع الشعب بتاعنا ونوريه السياسة بتاع الحكومة بتاعي شنو والأهداف بتاعنا شنو في وقت أنا جيت والوقت اللي كان فات كان عملنا شنو. هذا نمرة 3 ده مسج بالنسبة للتعايش السلمي. طبعا انتم شفتوا مقاطعة جو ده مقاطعة انه فرق مع باقي المقاطعات. الجو مع جمجم ده محل يعني نحن كشعب بتاع روين ده محل لو زول جاي من جنوب ولا زول جاي من برا هيجي يشهد انه الشعب بتاع روين شعب سالم وشعب بتاع سلام.
A delegation from the Transitional National Legislature arrives in Upper Nile State, met with Deputy Governor of Upper Nile State, Deng Joa Angok, discussed strengthening the capacity of legislators in public financial management and budget preparation. The leader of parliamentary delegation, Ajak Abrambier, says the training aims to equip parliamentarians with skills and knowledge to improve their understanding of financial management and budgeting processes. The acting Speaker of the State Assembly, Venancio Obang Odwok, a representative of state government Nanuer William Nguyen, spoke to the media after the meeting.
The team came from Juba, well received by His Excellency the acting governor, and indeed we are warmly received and welcome. And lastly, we will be having 4 days training capacity building with members of the Finance Committee in the Legislative Assembly, plus other DGs from the economy cluster. So for time, maybe 3 to 4 days will be in Malakal town on capacity building under the UNDP and the daily consultant.
On behalf of the acting governor of Upper Nile State, Benjo Rango, we today received the team from Juba, the specialized committee from national MPs from Juba, to come for the training of our state committee for the finance in assembly, also to train our DGs in the economic cluster. So we welcome them and we will receive the training.
And that finally brings us to the end of our news hour. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ahut Polnang. Till next time.
Driving in demanding environments can make your engine work harder, adding stress to all the internal components, making them wear out more quickly. Engine combustion produces ash and other deposits that can form a sludge, blocking vital oilways and restricting oil flow throughout your engine. ADNOC Voyager is specially formulated to guard against sludge buildup by cleaning your engine. ADNOC Voyager is certified by major car manufacturers and is engineered for optimum performance, ensuring maximum